I welcome all of you to chapter 18. I went to the market laden with smooth skinned brinjals and pumpkins, round and fleshed like young women. The earth had yielded richly. There were besides um, beans and potatoes, melons and chilies, and I was well pleased with them and with the silver coins I had received in exchange. I no longer sold to Biswas. There were several other shops in the town now where I was paid better, and where I did not have to endure the sly, spiteful observations he made. Increase in years had added more grease to his bulk, more flesh to his paunch. They had not sweetened his nature or endowed him with more kindliness. Confounding the curse that came his way, and there were many, for his usury was harsh beyond necessity. He continued to prosper, squeezing the life from those hapless creatures who were driven to borrow from him, and gaining its strength from their weakness. Seeing me pass, he came and stood in his doorway and called, "Rukmani, I have news for you. Stop a minute." "What is it?" "Kenny is back. I have seen him." So I said wearily, "Uh, that is good news for everybody, especially for you," he said, keeping his eye on me. "For everybody," I repeated, "for he is a good doctor. Many people are in his debt." "He's also a man," he said. "They say he's a good friend to you." "To me and mine," I said with rising temper. "He has done much for us." "For you particularly," he insisted, his flabby lip twitching with innuendo. Innuendo is hinting insult. "I have heard from Kunti that this is so." "A war's tale," I said contemptuously. Contemptuously means in a disgusting manner. "As suspect as her body." He thrust his face up to mine, yet not for the reason dismissed, he said, leering. I wanted to strike him. I wanted to ram his words back into his throat. I held myself still with an effort. "Foul-mouthed pig," said carrion crow. He only smiled, being used to harsh words. "As hot-headed as ever, Rukmani," he said. "Where will you turn neck when next you need money?" He was so slippery, so worthless, that my anger died. Not even the malignant power of Kunti could rouse me. I felt too remote. I hung about for a while, unable to make up my mind whether to try and seek him in the town or whether to go home in prudence and await his coming, as I felt sure he would. Then it struck me as ludicrous that at this late stage I should walk with caution, and I went therefore to the whitewashed cottage on the fringes of the town, expectant, carrying a garland of roses and jasmine to welcome him and allow him for good luck. The cottage was bare, it always had been, and chill and lifeless from long disuse. Dust lay thick on the floor. There were neat hillocks of chipped cement and earth where bandicoots, for some obscure reason of their own, had dug. So much I saw from the broken front window that then I pushed open the door to enter. Henry was standing in the smaller room that led off the main one. He turned when he heard me come in. I saw him frown. "How did you know I was here?" Accustomed though I was to him, the brusque words, his short manner, dashed the welcome from my lips. "Biswas told me," I said. "I came at once." There was a silence. The garland I was holding became an encumbrance. I felt I had been stupid to buy it. Even the lime seemed unnecessary. I tried to hide them behind my back. He noticed at once. "What have you got there?" "A few things. I have been to the market," and I began lamely. "A garland, is it not?" "Yes," I said sheepishly. Sheepishly means a little shyly. "I brought it for you." "You guess well." He drew me to the window and pointed. Outside lay a heap of garlands, roses, lilies, chrysanthemums. Evidently, others had been before me. "Not a guess," he said gravely. "A certainty. You were not the first." Well intentioned for all that, I was beginning hotly when he began to laugh, grinning widely so that the lines of his face were somehow lost in the creases of laughter, making him look young and amiable. I felt better at once. The strangest strangeness vanished. You have been away a long time, I said. Too long we have missed you. Why, he said, more trouble? I was in two minds as to what to say and looked covertly at him. His face had become very serious, almost grim, with every trace of laughter taken from it. After so many years, he was as unpredictable as ever. We have had our troubles, I said cautiously. Yet it was not only on that account we missed you. It was. I stopped, not knowing how to finish. He would have helped us in our need with food and money and skill, yet it was something more than this that he offered us, and I could not find words for it. Your presence, I said haltingly, means a lot to us. There's a rare gentleness in you, the sweeter for its brief appearances. I do not know what emboldened me. Perhaps it was his silence. He seemed to be hardly listening. He was still standing, looking out of the window, biting his nails. Troubles, he said. We all have them. I suppose the crops failed and you starved. It was a bad time, I answered. We lost two sons. Raja died by an accident. The child was too tender for this world. He could not live as we did. After the crops failed, I stopped again. The memory of those days was ever with me, yet the passing of time had made it quiescent. Now my own words brought it savagely alive with the shrill, stabbing pain that swept the words away. I was quiet for a while, waiting for it to fade to regain calmness, so we can see here how much Rukmani was hurt by the memories of the death of her two sons. I was quiet for a while, waiting for it to fade to regain calmness. He did not look round. Perhaps he sensed my struggle. Enough of me, I said at last. What of you and yours? He turned on me roughly. What concern is that of yours? None, save that I wish them well. Save your wishes, he said unpleasantly. My wife has left me. My sons have been taught to forget me. I tried and failed to imagine her, this woman who could, after so many years, renounce altogether her husband, break the bond but that must surely have existed despite his long absences. Perhaps it is just this that had driven her to it, I thought. He's not without blame. You think it is my fault? He said. Do not deny it. Your face speaks plainly enough for me. Women need men, I said, shrugging. It is not right to deprive a woman. Tell me also, he said, do you not think a man must choose his work? Such a man as you, yes, I replied. But then if his wife cannot accompany him, cannot, I said, she must. A woman's place is with her husband. He sighed impatiently. You simplify everything being without understanding. Your views are so limited. It is impossible to explain to you. Limited? Yes, I agree, yet not wholly without understanding. Our ways are not your ways. You have sound instincts. So in the previous place where we said quiescent, it means rest. You can write that down if you need. And amiable means friendly. For the first time since I had known him, I saw a spark of admiration in his eyes. I'm not a fool, I said, speaking in a low voice, pleased by the commendation in his eyes, little hurt by it as well. Have I not so much sense to see that you are not one of us? You live and work here, and there is in your heart solicitude for us and love for you, our children. But this is not your country, and we are not your people. If you lived here your whole life, it still would not be my country, he said. Sometimes I do not know which is my country. Until today, I had thought perhaps it was this. He sounded bitter and weary. His forlorn spirit touched mine, and a great emptiness seemed to unfold in me. I wished I could have my words back, locked away safely in myself, unsaid, powerless to wound. Save your regrets, he said. You had told me nothing I did not know. I rose to go. My husband and children will be happy to see you. We shall be glad to welcome you in our house. You are not without riches, as I have said before, he said, speaking half to himself. How is your daughter? She was a pretty young woman. Well, she is carrying, so her coming to me was not in vain. Had she been barren forever, it would have been better. Why, was it not your wish? Not this way, I said, with the father, any one of a dozen men. So this brings out Ira's prostitution. I support it was necessary. So she is carrying means she is pregnant by then. It means. I suppose it was necessary, he said quietly. I have seen it happen before. She would go, I replied. She was devoted to the child, she would go. But of course, she knew nothing, being inexperienced in such matters. And now she is with child. She conceived quickly. Will feel better when it is born, he said. A baby is no worse for being conceived in an encounter. So this sort of breaks a taboo in society by, and Kamala Market there brings a sort of idea that even a child born in an encounter, in a sudden encounter to a prostitute is no stranger than a child conceived in the normal way. So for both are conceived in a similar manner. The only thing, it is beyond marital bounds for a child conceived without a father who is an unknown father. You may be right, I said bitterly, but you do not realize the shame of guilt. People have not spared us. He stared at me impatiently. That is all you can think of, what people will say. One goes from one end of the world to the other to hear the same story. Does it matter what people say? His tone was contemptuous. So, as previously we said, contemptuous means sort of disgusting. Well, I thought it is easy for you, but perhaps not quite so simple for us. I walked home, musing over what he had said, and presently it seemed to me there was truth in his words, and I felt a little comforted. Nathan has said much the same thing, he and Kenny, so different in other ways, yet were united in their views about this. So we can see about the Kenningtons. In as a conclusion, we can see that about Kennington's return and the news of Ira's pregnancy revealed to us. So it can be seen here. Uh, So in the next chapter, we'll meet with chapter 19. So thank you for watching. Do subscribe to my channel, like this video, and click the bell icon for more notifications.